The biggest city in the Pacific Northwest has a diverse population, a surplus of public parks and leafy residential neighborhoods on surrounding hills. Setting off the space-age urban environment of the Seattle Center and the cluster of skyscrapers downtown, Seattle is ensconced in glorious natural scenery. There's the vastness of Puget Sound, the outline of the Olympic Mountains off to the west, and the colossal mass of Mount Rainier, the most prominent peak in the United States. In this video, you'll see the top 10 things to see and do in Seattle. The suggestions are based on our several exciting trips to the City of Angels. Here are our top 10 picks. Begin with number 1, Space Needle. A defining feature of Seattle's silhouette for almost 60 years, the Space Needle is a timeless symbol for the city. When it went up in 1962, it was the tallest building west of the Mississippi, standing at 158 meters, 184 with spire. You'll ascend the tower in a glass elevator to the observation deck at 160 meters, where you can ponder the Seattle's towers, Mount Rainier, the islands on Puget Sound, the Cascade Mountains, and the Olympic Mountains. In 2017-18, a $100 million renovation project installed the Loop, which is the world's first and only rotating glass floor. Number 2 is the Seattle Center. Below Queen and Hill at the northern fringe of Seattle's downtown, the Seattle Center is a cultural, arts and entertainment zone on 74 acres. This modernist cityscape was all built for the 1962 World's Fair, which gave a shot in the arm to the city's economy and cultural life, and pulled in more than 2.3 million visitors. The Seattle Center's emblem is the Space Needle, which we'll come to next, but as we'll see, there's a lot more packed onto the site, from museums to performing arts venues and the 18,600-seater Key Arena, which is full of space-age charm and sets off from the Westlake Center in downtown Seattle. Number 3, Seattle Great Wheel. The giant Ferris wheel at Pier 57 is the tallest on the West Coast at more than 53 meters. The Seattle Great Wheel may seem like a tourist trap at first glance, but has a lot going for it. The scenery is of course spellbinding, but you'll be able to enjoy it from a fully enclosed capsule, which is good news on rainy days or chilly nights. The pods don't swing, even in blustery weather, and on Friday and Saturday evenings the wheel stays open until midnight all year. If you fancy an upgrade, there's a VIP pod with a glass floor, leather seats, champagne, and line jumping privileges. Number 4, Museum of Flight. A short drive south to Boeing Field in Tukwila is the largest independent air and space museum in the world. In a city with Seattle's aviation pedigree, it's a trip not to pass up, especially because the central T.A. Wilson Great Gallery is a jaw-dropping steel and glass construction. This vast space holds scores of aircraft, many suspended from the ceiling. One of these is the Gossamer Albatross II, the backup aircraft for the first human-powered flight across the English Channel. There's a cockpit from a Lockheed State Route 71 Blackbird and a de Havilland Comet, the world's first jetliner, as well as the very first jet Air Force One, used by JFK, Johnson, and Reagan. Number 5 in our list, Seattle Aquarium. At Pier 59 on the waterfront, the Seattle Aquarium shines a light on the diverse marine life of the Pacific Northwest. The enormous tank built for the attractions in the 2007 expansion is window on Washington waters, showcasing local Pacific species like rockfish, lingcod, wolf eels, salmon, and sea anemones from a depth of 1.5 meters to just over 18 meters. There are dive shows 3 times a day in this tank, 10 o'clock, 11:30 and 12:15, plus 1,500 hours on weekends, and the divers answer visitors' questions using modified masks, allowing you to touch sea cucumbers and sea urchins. Number 6, South Lake Union. Literally on the southern tip of Lake Union, this neighborhood, just northeast of downtown Seattle, is a former manufacturing zone that is changing at breathtaking speed. A century ago, Bill Boeing's first airplane factory was in South Lake Union, as was the first Model T plant west of the Mississippi. Since the 2000s, the area has quickly become a biotechnology hub, joined to downtown by the South Lake Union streetcar and home to all sorts of research institutes, as well as campuses for Amazon and Google. Amazon's convenience store, Amazon Go, has 2 locations in South Lake Union for a bewildering peek into the future of retail. Number 7. Chihuly Garden and Glass. The Tacoma-born glass artist Dale Chihuly has earned worldwide acclaim for his colorful and logic-defying glass sculptures. Established at the Seattle Center in 2012, Chihuly Garden and Glass is a dazzling museum dedicated to his work. The exhibition comprises 8 galleries, a lush garden in the glass house, the attraction's astounding mainstay. This glass and steel structure was inspired by Chihuly's fascination for conservatories, and suspended from the ceiling is a 30-meter work in yellow, red, orange, and amber that seems to change with the light throughout the day. In the 8 galleries, you can get to grips with Chihuly's career and discover how he rewrote the rulebook for glass art. Number 8. Museum of Pop Culture. Since 2000, the Seattle Center monorail has zipped through this outlandish sheet metal building by Frank Gehry. Up to 2016, this was the Experience Music Project and Science Fiction Museum and Hall of Fame, before settling on the more manageable. The museum now stages changing exhibitions tackling all aspects of popular culture, be it video games, horror movies, sci-fi literature, or music of all genres. In 2019, Scared to Death featured more than 50 props and costumes from A Nightmare on Elm Street, Buffy, The Walking Dead, and many more. Infinite Worlds of Science Fiction had 150 artifacts that you'll have seen in Blade Runner, Star Trek, or Men in Black. Number 9. Woodland Park Zoo. Within a continuous patch of parkland attached to Green Lake Park in north-central Seattle, the Woodland Park Zoo is a multi-award-winning attraction. In fact, no other zoo apart from the Bronx Zoo has picked up as many prizes from the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. Many of the individual habitats have garnered awards, like the penguin enclosure where you can view Humboldt penguins darting underwater from a window. And since you're in Seattle, you can observe the species of the Northwest at the Northern Trail habitat, keeping gray wolves, elk, North American river otters, and brown bears. Finish with number 10, Seattle Japanese Garden. At the south end of the Washington Park Arboretum is a magical 3.5-acre garden laid out in the late 1950s on the supervision of the respected landscape architect Juki Ida. This is one of the oldest Japanese gardens in the United States, but also one of the most authentic, and a venue for all sorts of celebrations in the Japanese calendar, like Children's Day, May 5th, and Respect for the Aged Day, September 16th. On the 4th Saturday of the month in summer, you can also take part in a traditional tea ceremony at the tea house. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite things to do in Seattle? Is there something we missed? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to Greenable if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.